God, my strength and my redeemer. Father God, we want to thank you for last night's rest and for the angel who watched over us all night long while we slumbered and slept. Through your grace and your mercy, you allowed us to run on just a little while longer. Oh, Father God, we thank you for this gathering. We pray that you touch everyone with the finger of love. Let them know, oh, Father, that you're still in control. Oh, Father God, bless us and bless everyone in the assembly. Bless their homes and their families. Oh, God, have mercy upon us. Oh, God, we need you in all our endeavors. We need you to travel up and down the dangerous highway, need you in our homes, and most of all, Father God, we need you in our school systems. Oh, God, please, Jesus, take care of us. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen and thank you.
Thank you.
Let us please face the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance in unison. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stafford, I told you we had God here. Okay. If there are any citizens here that would like to address the commission on any item other than an item that's on the agenda that's due for public hearing today, please fill out a card that's located in the foyer, give it to the commission clerk or myself, and you'll be recognized at that particular time. I have one card from Mr. Brooks May, but Mr. May, you will be up for public hearing, so when that item come up on the agenda, you'll be allowed to speak then. Thank you. I see no other requests for speakers. So at this time, next order of business, Mr. Clerk.
Agenda additions.
I'm sorry. Agenda additions. No, Mr. Clerk.
Next we have visitors. Mr. John Pettaway, World War II veteran of Caddo Parish.
Mr. Stafford, if you would aid Mr. Pettaway to the mic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time I would like to introduce who's holding the position of number one as being the oldest veteran in Caddo Parish to this point. Up until Monday, we had Mr. Falkenberry, who was out of Commissioner's Court District, that was 89, that was the oldest veteran. However, I got a phone call that Mr. John Pettaway Jr., and he likes to be called Junior, a World War II veteran, who is 99 years of age.
Wow.
And as Mr. Pearson probably would say, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. June the 4th, Mr. Pettaway will be 100. All right, June the 4th of 2011. And we're sure that God is going to be with him. Mr. Pettaway served from June the 22nd of 1942 until September of 1945. He served over 3 years in the European Command. He was in Africa, Italy, and France in those theaters. And I'm going to let him tell you about what he did. But as a note, if you notice, his nephew was trying to bring him up to the podium. He said, "I can walk." I called him yesterday and I said, "Mr. Pettaway, I said, do you need like a wheelchair or anything to drive?" What I said that for? Boy, no, I don't need no wheelchair. I drive through anything I want. So he's still a very independent man. And he said he had only 2 vices. And I'm going to disclose one publicly. And that was his hearing. So we tried to help remedy him on that. You know, we have the equipment for hearing impaired. But I'm not going to tell that second. But at this time, I'd like for Mr. Pettaway to address us in his own way about his military service and about his life in Caddo Parish. And we just wanted to recognize you today. Mr. Pettaway.
Well, I'm thankful to God for the privilege to meet you all. It's been pretty tough with me sometimes. But when they called me in service, I spent my basic at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Those 6 months I spent there. Then they let me come home for about 8 days here in Louisiana. That's where I was from right here. And then when I got back, said pack A and B bag. We're leaving out. And they sent to Casablanca, Africa. And I spent a year in Africa, unloading cargo, Browning and shelling, you know, all up and down the slope out in Africa. Then to Casablanca was almost the same thing, but it turns west in Naples, Italy. Spent 8 months more in Naples, Italy, and then they sent us to CPCRS, France. And we couldn't, in the freight ships, big ships, you know, we couldn't go to the show in the ship. We had to unload the smaller ships, take us up about a half a mile up the river. And that's where it could go. It couldn't make it to shore. We unloaded it with our 2 bags, field pack, and then I guess to go to the shore there in the woods. And we were there 2 weeks in the woods. They had been through bombing and shelling. They had men piled up out there, just like you pile wood. And we bivouac there in the woods until they got them pushed far enough back. And then they had trucks come and take us and cast to Marseille, France. And we spent a while in Marseille, France, and then they sent us to Rome, Italy. And we spent 6 months in Rome unloading cargo. All right. And then went back to Marseille, France. And the war ceased then. And I went to the kitchen and started cooking. And for that 8 or 10 months that I was back in Marseille, and that's why they gave me this rating, the copper 5th grade. And that's where I was when they gave me permission to be able to go home.
All right.
But within 3 years, was unloading tanks, trucks, and ammunition off the freight ship. That's what I worked on the time I was over there.
Yes. Okay.
But God bless me, and He still is to come back home, because I've been back pretty good while.
Okay, and I'm gonna share one more thing.
No.
Sorry.
I had to have pacemakers put in. I got the 2nd pacemaker right now.
All right.
Not the sharp one, it's the hard man. We've been happy now, but the man above been taking care of me.
All right.
All right.
And I'm so happy to have opportunity to meet y'all. I've been here in Louisiana all my life.
Okay.
Born and raised right here.
All right.
And I'm glad to meet you.
Okay. Well, we thank you for your service. And I'm going to share one more thing with you. He has a book, some of his mementos in them, and they sort of fading away now, but he has a very good-looking picture of himself. And I asked him, I said, where did you get that from? He said, You see, them girls in it, they took that out. I said, did you tell me that way?
Two more things I want to say before I sit down. The war-torn countries are something. You're talking about in hell, but you haven't been to me. Bombing and shelling and turn all day, all night. And see a lot of men go down. God bless me and let you come back home. All right. I'm thankful for it.
Okay. And his hearing is because of the bombing also.
And I've lost this and almost lost this.
You're still here.
I've been here, but I'm still here.
All right. Hold up, Ms. Pettaway. Does anyone like to say anything, Ms. Pettaway?
You can sit down.
We thank you very much, and once again, I'd like to acknowledge his nephew, who's with him, Mr. Jesse J. Stafford Jr. He retired from the United States Army, and he also taught ROTC at Huntington, and he retired from the Caddo Parish School Board. Thank you all very much for your service. Okay. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Next we have communiques and committee reports.
Case, Ms. Pearson, anything now on your committee?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. Yes, sir, our intergovernmental committee met and voted unanimously to recommend to put on the agenda for recommendation to this full body that we adopt the master plan and that we adopt it by resolution and by ordinance. And further explanation will be for that. We put it on the agenda for next work session. Mr. President.
Okay, Ms. Lynch?
Yes, I'm going to be calling a CBO-NGO meeting at our next our next regular meeting on April the 21st at 2 o'clock, so we'll be getting notice of that. I also wanted to just congratulate you, President Epperson, on the magnificent kickoff for County Government Month. Well attended and, good publicity and just letting folks know what Caddo Parish is doing, and you've done an excellent job on that. And I know we have some other events that are planned for the rest of the month, but just wanted to commend you for that great kickoff and for getting President Whitley here. Also, congratulations to LBJ on his election to District 2. So, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's see, Mr. Cox.
Yeah, just a reminder, on the 18th, we will have a policy and procedures meeting at 2 o'clock. Mr. Todd, if you don't mind, send notices out for that via email. In my district on May 8th at 2 o'clock, we will be having a district meeting at the firehouse on Linwood, and I'll have some emails going out about that as well. So, Mr. Administrator, I'll be getting with you as far as directors that should come to that, and if they would, it's free hamburgers and hot dogs, and I'm cooking. So, that means you can come too.
But the question is, are you eating? Because if you're eating, I'm going to be here to eat. There's nothing we're going to do too busy. I'm cooking.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, we have the minutes for March 17th.
So moved. Second.
We have them. Okay. Please vote. Folks, public hearing on ordinance.
We have ordinance number 5075 of 2011, amending and reenacting Chapter 26 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinances regarding the appeal process of the authority of Caddo Parish and the regulation of motor vehicles and traffic.
Anyone to speak in favor of? Against? All right. Next.
Ordinance number 5076 of 2011, authorizing the Shrewsbury Library to negotiate the acquisition of a parcel of property on behalf of the Parish of Caddo to serve as a site for administrative, technical, and bookmobile center.
Anybody to speak in favor? Against? All right.
Ordinance number 5077 of 2011 to revoke the dedication of the unnamed road in the parish of Caddo.
Anybody to speak in favor? Name and address, please.
My name is Jeff Morris. My address is 7600 Fern Avenue, Building 200, Freeport, LA 71105. Now, I was at Cottage Ridge, and two of the adjacent lot owners, Mr. Gus Majalis is the principal of Cottage Ridge, requested about 3 years ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, he's been working on it about 3 years, that this unnamed road dedication, he wanted to have it declared surplus and buy it from the parish. But instead, we've gone to the parish to revoke the dedication. The road was originally dedicated in 1915, and it's been recommended by Mr. Whittington that the road be abandoned. It hasn't been used for any public use, and the parish doesn't have any plans to use it as public road.
All right, yeah. Okay. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in opposition to ordinance number 5077 of 2011? If you would, come forward, state your name and address for the record, and you may proceed. If we have multiple persons to speak against this item, you have a total of 15 minutes. You can divide it up or however you'd like to do it. Okay, sir.
Thank you. My name is Richard Hiller. I'm an attorney here in Shreveport. I represent Philip Wilson as one of the property owners affected by the abandonment ordinance. My address is 401 Edward Street, 13th floor, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101.
Okay. And my name is Brooks May. I'm an attorney here as well. I represent one of the landowners, Patrick McClanahan. My address is 901 Piermont Road, Shreveport, 71106.
And Commissioners, I can only say one thing. I just hope and pray I get to be 99 years old and look as good as Mr. Featherweight Jr. Quite a gentleman, quite a gentleman. And the reason that we're objecting to this ordinance today, basically, Commissioners, is that the people that will be adversely affected are our clients. Cottage Ridge LLC, which is the entity that has requested the abandonment, in essence, if this abandonment is approved, will get 25 feet of our property. This right-of-way, which was done back in 1915, was for a public road and a public road only. No public road, obviously, was ever put in place, or ever at any time. And I just had, Mr. Wilson just had a survey completed of his property, and I'm sorry I didn't have time enough, I just got it this afternoon. And if I could, just so you can see, the yellow line marks the abandonment that we're talking about today in ordinance number 5077. And what I'm trying to show to the Commissioners is that this 50-foot right-of-way is across the property of Mr. McClanahan and Mr. Wilson. It has no burden. It does not touch one piece of property of Cottage Ridge. It's strictly on our client's property. Our clients bought it. Our clients have paid taxes on it. Our clients did not even know about this right-of-way since it was done in 1915 and never instigated, never implemented until this process started. And so if this abandonment was approved by the Commission, what would happen? There's a statute on the books that if you read it strictly, that Cottage Ridge would get 25 feet of Mr. McClanahan's property and 25 feet of my client's property, property they never bought, property they've never paid taxes on. So the reason we're objecting to it is that the only people that would be adversely affected are our clients who legitimately paid for it when they bought the property and legitimately paid the taxes on it. And so it would end up being a windfall to Cottage Ridge, who, for all intents and purposes, doesn't need the 25 feet. It's not part of their subdivision plat. I know it's hard to see this subdivision, this survey, and if you want me to bring it up to you so you can see it closer, I'll be happy to do so. But our primary objection is that we lose 25 feet of our property. That's plain and simple if this is approved. and it just seems to be quite unfair that we would buy property that we would lose through an abandonment, that the only party that gets the benefit of this never paid for it. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Mayor.
I would just like to add that when you read the statute that deals with revoking these dedications, there's a qualification that says that the road, street, or alleyway was both laid out and dedicated. In this case, this road is not identified. It's not been laid out such as a subdivision street might be. And in those cases, it may make sense to give 50% to each party because neither party has title to that street in those cases. And the only logical owner if a street were to be revoked would be the adjacent landowners. In this case, we have deeds, I know for my client, at least back over 40 years and probably all the way back to 1915, that includes the entirety of the land upon which this road right-of-way is located.
And I keep reiterating about if this was approved, that Cottage Ridge would get 25 feet of the northern part of our property. And I mean, that's in essence what would be the consequence of passing this ordinance, if you were going strictly by the statute that Mr. May just related to you. And when our client bought this property, at that time, this was never contemplated. I mean, there was no right-of-way. There was nothing out there whatsoever. And I just wanted to make clear that as far as I know, the Cottage Ridge entity that's asked for the abandonment, I don't know of any special reason they need the 25 feet. In other words, there's been nothing set forth that I know, whether for public safety or whether some sort of reason for the public good that they would need the 25 feet, that basically is the 25 feet of the north part of our property. And for those reasons, we respectfully object and would ask that this commission not approve the revocation of this right-of-way. And if the commissioners have any questions at all, we'll be happy to take them.
We can't ask for that time.
We will do that once we make the motion and the second or whatever it is, then we'll debate. So thank you, sir. Anyone else to speak in opposition to ordinance number 5077 of 2011? Anyone else to speak in opposition? Okay, next order, Mr. Clerk.
You have a rebuttal?
Pardon? Yeah, we have a rebuttal. Okay, all right, rebuttal.
I know both Mr. Hill and Mr. May said their clients bought the property, but the dedication has been there since 1915, and it was very clear. It was 50 feet by 1 mile long along the entire northern part of the section that it was dedicated for a public road. I don't think the question before the commission is the ownership of it. Their clients do have deeds purporting to purchase it, but at the time that dedication was made, even if the next person came and sold it, they didn't own it to sell it from the people who dedicated it. The road's identified, and if there's a question about ownership, I think the only question for the commission is should we revoke it, and it's pretty clear that the parish has no use for it anymore. And to fight over ownership, if there's going to be a dispute over ownership and whether we get 25 feet and they get 25 feet, or they get the entire 50 feet, that's a question probably for the first judicial district court. And if they claim they own it, that they own the property fee simple, there shouldn't be any problem with the commission revoking the dedication because they'll stand in the same place. Thank you.
Anything, one more rebuttal from the other side relative to that? Okay. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Ordinance number 5078 of 2011 declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorizing the parish administrator or designee to sell.
Anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5078 of 2011? Anyone here to speak in opposition to ordinance number 5078 of 2011? Okay.
That'll conclude our public hearing.
Mr. Clerk, at this time, I'd like to maybe go back. We missed, I think, the administrator's report. So while we've had the public hearing on everything that we have for now, to give us an opportunity to digest what we've just heard, could we go back to the administrator's report?
Yes, sir.
And then we'll come back to ordinance of fire.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Wilson, the administrator's response to information and requests from commissioners.
Yes, sir. We have a request, President Epson, from Commissioner Smith for information about our new road ordinance. I'd like to have Mr. Robert Glass come forward to kind of give you an update of what we've been doing the past few months. He'll be very brief. Going from there.
Afternoon. I've had some commissioners ask some questions about our commercial vehicle enforcement unit, which has been active since January. And since that time, we've written 478 permits for access to these roads. We've had 4 citations written for overweight vehicles, and we've had numerous other warnings written during the time that we've had this enforced to let everybody know that we are enforcing these standards, and we've had a pretty good response from all the trucks and such that we've encountered, and they've been very cooperative so far, and we think it is doing some good. Do you have any questions?
The road ordinance? Road ordinance? No, right, that's on the road ordinance. Mr. Smith wanted information. Anything, Mr. Smith?
Just wanted the commission to understand what's being done, and it is working, thanks to y'all's approval. No bridges torn down or anything like that, and he's giving tickets as needed, and appreciate y'all's help on this. Thank you, Robert.
Mr. Lynn, hold up, Robert. Mr. Lynn.
Mr. Glass, what are the total amount of fees that are brought in for application to drive an overweight truck on the road?
The permits are a little bit over $43,000, and
Do we estimate that the amount that we charge for fees to drive an overweight truck on the parish roads are equal to the repair costs that it'll take to bring these roads back to standards? When the heavier trucks, the saltwater trucks are gone, are we just, charging them a dime for something we're going to have to spend $1 on later?
the main intention is to just keep them as the regular weight, the official 88,000 pounds. I wouldn't think that you can say, $40,000 is nothing to fix a road. So it's really, the intention there is to keep them off the road, keep the overweight vehicles off the road. And if we can, fine them a little bit, or at least permit them, then we know where they are, we can tell them where they can go, what bridges they can't go over. It limits the damage as much as you possibly can, but it's a public road, we can't keep them off the roads.
But what I'm hearing you say is that ultimately they're doing way more damage than what we're recuperating in fees and fines.
Well, it's hard, yes, I'll say that.
Okay.
I mean, we can't fine them that much.
Okay, then I guess we'll have to figure out another way to be compensated so that the taxpayer who doesn't put an overweight vehicle on the road has to pay for a company making a profit tearing up the roads.
Yeah. That would be a hard, price to come up with.
Yeah. A hard way to get it, not a hard price to come up with. Anyway, thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Escudé?
What did you say we're collecting in fees?
I'm sorry?
Fees so far?
$43,075.
Permitting fees?
Permit fees.
Okay, and in fines?
Fines are about $9,000. So close to $50,000, a little over $50,000 total.
I don't care about I want to combine them. Two separate things. Fines, how much? Again?
$10,000.
$10,000. How many tickets, whatever you want to call them, have we written? 4. 4 in what period of time?
Since January.
January. How long have we been operating this unit?
Since January.
January, stood up in January.
Before that, but we didn't start writing tickets until January.
Okay. By June, if it's okay, at the end of June, I would like to do a cost-benefit analysis of this enterprise, just so we can evaluate it. I mean, we've staffed it, we've equipped it and all that. 4 tickets? 4? 9? 4 tickets? What'd you say?
Right.
4? Do that on weekend. I understand
Mr. Lynn's concern, but I just want to remind everybody that all of this traffic, everybody tends to think it's oil and gas. It's not oil and gas related. It's been going on forever. It's timber. It's all kinds of other heavy things. So it's an ongoing problem that's been exacerbated by, the drilling activity. Thank you.
I'd just like to add, Robert, I'm, full of tickets since that period of time, and as John stated, it's just not the oil and gas industry. Working out at the refinery, I knew all the ways that the guys try to go around scales and do this, that, and the other, so I think we really need to step that game up. Okay, thank you. Okay. Mr. Wilson.
Commissioners, we have, I'd like to recognize at this time Cheryl McGee. Cheryl's have obtained a certification in HR, so I'd like for her to come at this time. And while she's coming forward, I just kind of tell you a little about this certification that she received. The Human Resource Certification Institute is proud to announce that Cheryl McGee has earned the following certification: Senior Professional in Human Resources. The SPHR designation demonstrates that an applicant has successfully completed a comprehensive examination that assesses general knowledge of the HR field, including strategic management, workforce planning and employment, HR development, compensation and benefits, employee and employee relationship, occupation, health, safety, and security. I would like to present her this plaque before you all today because it's a lot of work. I think the test was about 2 hours, 4.5-hour test. She's to be commended for taking 4.5-hour test and being able to get it done the first time. But let me read this on the certificate. It says, Certificate Institute commits to higher standards. Hereby certified that Cheryl L. McGee, SPHR, having met the distinction of high standards of education, experienced and demonstrated knowledge established by this institute, has been certified as a senior professional in human resources with the signature duly authorized officer of this institution. And this is the second one in our organization. Erica received hers about 3 months ago. And I just want to commend Cheryl for her extra work that she put into being a professional in her craft. So Cheryl, thank you. There's only 290 in the state of Louisiana. She's one of them. Congratulations.
Okay, that it, Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
That's it? Okay, I missed my report. I was escorting our guest out, and at this time I'd like to do my report. First of all, I'd like to thank the staff, our CEO, Mr. Wilson, colleagues on the commission, Ted Cox at the Juvenile Detention Center, and all the other people that helped get Parish Government Month kicked off. As you're aware, on April the 4th, we started out with our National Association of County President, Mr. Glenn Whitley. He spent the morning with us. We had lunch. We met with different people and leaders throughout the community and discussed a number of issues. Then he came in to the press conference at 2 o'clock, which was very well attended. Also, I'd like to mention that Jim Phillips, the Public and Media Relations Director of National Association of County Officials in Washington, D.C., whom of the 3,068 counties or parishes or boroughs or however parish government is listed within the United States of America, we are a part of over 2/3 of them, over 2,000 being represented by NACO. We were sent out on E-Stream via 25,000 subscribers on our eNACO News Network. Since that airing of that meeting, as well as our subsequent press conference, we received a number of inquiries as to the way that our archives, as far as our live streaming on the website is concerned, and as well as the subsequent playback of older meetings within the commission, as well as minutes. And I certainly would have thought that all these other counties and boroughs and so forth throughout the nation that are members of NACO would probably be ahead of us, but evidently we are pioneers within that endeavor. They're calling to ask Carrie what are we doing, what system did we use, and what was the cost to get it incepted for our parish. Also, we'd like to thank Comcast Cable for televising the Monday's work session, which normally is not televised. We appreciate that effort. On Tuesday, we dedicated the new Veteran Service Office on Crestwell. All of you are aware that the old City Hall Annex on Murphy will be torn down, and it's our responsibility to provide an office for our veterans services throughout the parish of Caddo. Very well attended, Mr. Lane Carson, the Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs of the State of Louisiana, was our featured speaker. We had a number of veterans and members of veterans organizations was present, and we're certainly glad of everything that transpired there. And once again, we'd like to thank our staff for a job we are doing on putting on the logistics. Today, we recognize the ongoing situation. We're looking for the oldest veteran within Caddo Parish. So at this time, Mr. John Petaway Jr., at 99 years of age, is the oldest veteran in Caddo Parish at this point in time. However, I offer a challenge to the citizens as well as my colleagues on the commission. Let's still continue to see if we can find a veteran that's older than Mr. Petaway in Caddo Parish, where we can bring him down and be recognized. Also featured today, we're going to be introducing the resolution to double the homestead exemption for our disabled veterans and their surviving spouses or widows. We particularly wanted to have this in conjunction with National Parish Government Month, where our theme is serving our veterans, the military, and their families. So we're glad to be able to introduce that resolution and bring it for a vote for the citizens. On Monday's work session, the 18th, we'll continue to recognize military units within the area. We ask any citizen or any person on this body, if there's any military unit that they would like recognized, please have them to contact the clerk's office, and we will do so at our subsequent meeting from this point on. On the April the 21st meeting, we recognize the Captain Shreve ROTC unit. Also, we're asking our commissioners that we're going to be doing a commissioner for a day. Whatever your criteria within your particular district that you would like to select a student to be a commissioner for today, it's strictly your purview to do so. And what we would like to do is we'd like to get those students identified. We'd like to get them down, say, a couple of hours prior to the commission meeting, have them to tour the facilities, answer questions for them, maybe have a sandwich, a cake and punch, and then have them to sit beside us at our actual commission meeting on April the 21st. We're going to culminate Parish Government Month on Saturday, April the 30th, beginning at 8 a.m. with registration. We're going to do a Volks March. And a Volks March is a family-oriented health march that basically was in Europe by the Germans. We're going to look for a family-oriented activity that will be in Eddie Jones Nature Park. We'd like to thank Mr. Ted Cox and Mr. Larry Raymond for setting that up. And we're asking that all commissioners would get registration forms, and all citizens within the parish and the military units to get registration forms. We're going to be doing that 10K march, run, or walk, or however you'd like to do it, in memory of Lance Corporal Dakota Ray Hughes, who lost his life in Afghanistan in November of last year. The proceeds from this march, which we're doing in conjunction with the Volunteers of America, will go toward the Veterans Transitional Shelter that is administered by the Volunteers of America in Shreveport, Louisiana. So up to this point in time, that's where we are, and we thank everyone that's participated thus far. And also the administration has put together a couple of talking points. We'd like for all of our commissioners, our administrative staff, and any person within the commission to go out in the community to make yourselves available and let the citizens know what our responsibilities, our duties are of the Caddo Parish Commission. So I thank you for that. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Escabay.
Just have one communication here. In case you missed it yesterday, there was a part of the editorial in the Times from the editorial board with regards to the passing of our noise ordinance, and drew the analogy that we didn't pass a identical ordinance to Bossier parishes.
which we did not. I guess they're not identical twins, they're fraternal twins, so to speak, because there's only one thing, that's the 5 decibel limit that differs from that regard. I believe the rest of the ordinances are exactly identical. But the editorial board, in their infinite wisdom, seemed to stress their disappointment that we didn't pass an identical ordinance, and that indicated we should have passed the same ordinance that Bossier did because of the raised decibel level. Well, I'd just like to remind them, hopefully, that not to take anything from our counterparts in Bossier Parish, I believe we studied this issue even harder and deeper than they did, because we actually had our consultants come back here and had a live demonstration about what the impact of those increased decibel limits would be as it relates to the distance. And their own staffer was here and witnessed that. And I would just hope that in the future, and assume that when they write something like that they, since they are the official journal of the parish, would at least read the minutes of the meeting so they could find out that in fact our due diligence was done on this matter, and it was studied even probably more comprehensive than anyone else. So if you missed that, you may pull up yesterday's little blip in there, and that just shows you how well we appreciate it for going the extra effort in doing the research. But I really just wanted to go on the record to remind you that showed up, and I take issue with it. Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
Oh, never mind, that was from earlier. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Lynch?
I guess great minds think alike.
Oh, don't drag me down there, baby.
She wasn't talking about you, John.
She talking about you, Doug. All right, let's get it on. Yes, ma'am.
I actually put in a call to Craig Durrett earlier today about that editorial, because like John was concerned about their portrayal of the actions that we took. So I just wanted to let you all know I did speak with him earlier about it. Thank you.
All I got to say is I don't pay anybody to kick my behind. That's all the business.
Ordinance for final passage. Ordinance number 5075 of 2011, amending and reenacting Chapter 26 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinances regarding the appeal process of the authority of Caddo Parish and the regulation of motor vehicles and traffic.
Move to approve. Second. Moved by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote, please. That passes. Next order, please.
Ordinance number 5076 of 2011, authorizing the Shrewd Memorial Library to negotiate the acquisition of a parcel of property on behalf of Caddo Parish to serve as a site for the administrative, technical, and bookmobile center.
Second by Commissioner Escudé, seconded by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Vote. Okay, that passes. Next order, please.
Ordinance number 5077 to revoke the dedication of unnamed road in the parish of Caddo.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Escudé, seconded by Commissioner Pearson. On the discussion. The maker, Commissioner Escudé.
I'll yield to Mr. Thibodeau first.
Mr. Thibodeau? Okay, Mr. Pearson, did you want? Okay.
I'm asking that we not revoke the dedication for basically 2 reasons. The primary reason is that in the past, I think the MPC has not brought us a revocation of a dedication unless all landowners were in agreement with it. And in this case, that's not the case. We've got 2 of the property owners that are not interested in doing it. Secondly, it sounds like to me, and I'm not an attorney, but it sounds like to me that there is a potential problem with who truly owns that dedication. In 1915, when it was dedicated as a potential road to the parish, and then we heard from these attorneys that whoever sold the properties to these gentlemen, and maybe even in prior deeds, included that as part of property. And I don't know if that's correct, because if it was dedicated to the parish and we never revoked it, then it would still be dedicated to the parish, I'm assuming. And I'm ask our legal, is that a correct statement?
Misunderstood.
In 1915, when the dedication was made, between 1915 and 2011, if the parish never did anything, we just, we did nothing at all on the property, we just held that in our land account, then I'm assuming we still own that dedication.
That's right, the dedication
All
is
right,
still there.
so the fact that in their deeds, it shows, if I understood the attorneys right, it shows that 50 feet was in fact a part of their lot. It sounds like to me that that's a title problem that needs to be taken care of. Because if that was part of the dedication, then they in fact don't own that 50 feet. So that's something that their attorneys would have to take care of, and I assume they'd have to come back to us and ask for revocation for that purpose. So what I'm asking is that we not revoke it, because I believe it's still our property, and I'm asking that we not revoke it simply because of the standards that we've set before, and that being if any landowner objected to the revocation or of the dedication, then we didn't do it. And that's what we have right now. So unless the commission wants to change that president, I would ask that we continue with that president and not do a revocation right now. Now, possibly in the future, when their attorneys look at it and they find, well, it really is still part of the dedication that was made for the road, you may want to come to us for a revocation then, and then possibly the people who own the subdivision may want to, get with the owners and try to do something, but right now, I would ask that we just leave it like it is.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Just before I get to Ms. Lynch, just to have maybe staff think of, I just got a question. Has any leases been executed within that area? And while you're pondering that, Ms.
Oil and
Lynch?
gas lease, sir?
I'm next, I just deferred to
Okay, well, if you would, push your system. I think that thing still works.
John,
Okay. Push it, John. Let's see.
it's not on there.
Okay, now, all right, now, let's, now what we got here? We got, I just saved my point of information, Mr. Whittington, I just want you to think about that. Okay, we got John, we got Lynch, and we got Cox. Okay. All right, John?
I would like to make a substitute motion that we delay this for 30 days, and then I'd like to speak on it if I can get a second, please.
I'll second that if you want.
Been moved by Commissioner Escudé, the substitute motion be made to delay for 30 days, and seconded by Commissioner Pearson. So therefore, everything is off the board. We'll go with the maker of the substitute motion and the seconder. Clear the board, please, ma'am, and then we'll go from anyone else that would like to speak after that.
So, point of order, Mr. President, you made the original motion on the original motion, the original motion.
I just ordered.
Okay, can you make the motion and the
Oh, yeah.
substitute?
That's me. That's me. Okay. All right, who's next? Ms. Cox? Who's next? Ms. Lynch? Ms. Baker?
Lynch.
Okay, Ms. Lynch.
I guess I'll make that motion.
That's what I
Motion to postpone.
Second. Okay. Moved by Mrs. Lynch, seconded by Mr. Cox to postpone. Ms. Lynch? Mr. Maker?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Cox is the seconder?
Basically, we do need to postpone this to get all the properties in line. Is there a fence up between the property owners that are there right now? There's a lot of questions that needs to be answered here. What's the parish's part in it? The two owners of the subdivision and the two owners that have representation here today. We need to really look at this before we do this. That's why I second the motion to delay, and everybody can go back and let's get this done the first time before something happens. Thank you.
Mr. Escudé?
Okay, well, at this time, I want to ask some questions of the people here representing both parties.
Okay.
Would you come forward, attorneys for both sides, well, I'll need both sides, and Mr. Whittington may want to be available. He may know more about this than you gentlemen, no disrespect, but what he does every day. And my reason for delaying is not to be argumentative with Mr. Thibodeau, is that I don't want this to go away because they've raised some questions that I think we need some information so that when this issue comes before us again, it's kind of uncharted territory. I've been around a long time. This is the first time I've seen this.
Doesn't matter, whichever one of you can answer, and you both answer if you want to. When the property was originally dedicated to the parish, was that one whole, the geography on both sides, was that all one property owners?
It was along a section line. There was, I don't know because I haven't gone back that far. But the
You know, Mr.
dedication
Hiller?
was an entire section, and they dedicated the north 50 feet of the second. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I want to know, was it one, was it just, did the land go both sides of the dedicated road? Did that property, was it all one large parcel of property by two owners at one time? Or were there separate owners on both sides of that dedicated road?
It's unclear to me that in 1915, if the grantor in that dedication owned the north of that property, don't know the answer to that question right now.
But, okay, then, you're not, okay, unless you differ, then you're assuming that the grantors own the whole 50 feet? And then how do you reach that conclusion? That your clients actually own the whole 50 feet of the dedication, or they're the previous owners to that property?
Well, I guess the question, back in 1915, whoever dedicated that owned the property then. And
All 50 feet?
And I don't know if that person, I assume that person owned all of that tract at that point in time. Usually back in 1915, they owned hundreds of acres.
Right.
And I'm assuming that one person owned all of that property, both north and south of the present configuration of the right-of-way.
And you're sure that property owner were the people that preceded your clients?
It's the same property, so
It's the
yes.
same property?
Yes.
Okay. Who, I don't know, anybody answer, who knows, who holds the deed to that particular 50 feet?
Well, my client, Mr. McClanahan, has a piece of it, about 350 feet of it. His client has another 350 feet, because they're adjacent.
Right, I'm very familiar with it. Okay, so they hold the deed to the right-of-way?
So they hold the deed to the property subject to the right-of-way.
Subject to the right-of-way. So they hold something that's, as long as, until we do anything, that they have no use of, correct?
Well, I wouldn't advise anybody to build anything within that 50 feet.
Well, I'm not talking about the value of the property or what its use or whether it's good for. What I'm saying is, it's got deed to something that's virtually, that they can't do anything with today. Correct.
Subject to that 50 foot
Public
right.
property.
Well, of course, they have 5 acres, and this is just the rear of their 5 acres.
Right, I'm only interested in the 50 feet by
rest of
half.
the
That's what I'm saying. They may hold a deed to it, but technically they don't have use of it.
It's subject to
Because
that
the
right.
parish technically, I'm not an attorney, but overrides their deed or their title or whatever you want to call
For
it, correct?
example, the parish could come in now and say, we're going to put in a road.
Exactly. So, all right, now, the old 50-50 rule that applies in most of these cases, you know, it goes 50 north, 50 south, or whatever. That is something that you interpret that it's a state statute that you're getting this from,
Correct.
customary?
It's Title 48, Section 701.
Okay. Has the property, the clients you represent, been, are these heirs of the original property owners from 1915?
No, they were separate third
Purchasers. So they've never really had any use of the property since they purchased it,
They
correct?
have the enjoyment of the wooded trees that are on this, in this,
As does
right-of-way.
anybody in the public that wants, as any member of the public who would want to go out there, correct? It's public property. We don't have to post it, do we?
Okay. For a public road. In other words, that's what it's dedicated for.
It's what it's dedicated for, but right now, it's, you know, we've got public parks that we may have stuff dedicated specifically for recreational area or something, but it doesn't matter, it's still public property. What I'm trying to get at is the current owners have never had any right to do anything with that property.
I didn't say anything to do with the property. They didn't know, nobody knew that the right-of-way existed until this came up.
Okay.
But they can't Yeah, if your question is, can they go out there and fence it off?
Yeah, I know they can't do anything with it. See,
They can't do that.
Yeah, it's not, I understand how that works. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just trying to say, the original people who who owned the property in 1915, they have sold it. It's not part of their heirs they have sold it, correct? They have sold it to the current owners.
And it's come down.
It's come down. Okay, so your clients technically have always had the rights to use of that property overridden by the parish's position, let's put it that way, correct?
Subject to the right-of-way, correct.
So, that's right, okay. So, can you verify, is the taxes that they pay, or the assessed taxes that include that right-of-way?
I can answer that partially. I looked up some of the assessments on the adjacent property. Some of them assess it with the whole thing, but one of the parcels actually had it subject to, they had the description that was on the deed when the person bought it, but at the end it said subject to road right-of-way. So they weren't taxed on that road right-of-way.
I think there's a question there, to be honest, Commissioner, because there's a road at the south of the lots that we're talking about, and I don't know if the assessor is referring to that last roadway that's on the south. I doubt if the assessor is referring to the right-of-way we're talking about today, but I can't answer that. I don't know that for a fact. I'm assuming that they've always paid taxes on the entire tract that includes the right-of-way. But I can't give you.
Well, you may want to check with the assessor on that, and who knows about what answer you'll get today, and who knows what answer you'll get tomorrow or a month from now. But anyway, what I'm getting at, and I'm almost finished, Mr. President, thank you for being here, is that let's assume they have not paid taxes, that it's been carved out, then I'm trying to find out if we abandon it and kick it back, and if they only pick up 25 feet, how do you saying they're not picking up, how are you making the claim that they're being cheated out of 25 feet when it wasn't owned by the previous property owner, it wasn't his purview to be able to sell it to them? I'm just trying to find out how really anybody's being harmed by this for one thing or cheated by this for the other. And I realize, and the reason I'm asking this question is it's not going to be settled here today because it's far above my pay grade here. You're going to have to get a clerk of court and find, there's some other stuff that's going to y'all going to have to figure out and to find out actually, who's right here and who's wrong here. So those answered my questions. This is just kind of a messed up thing. But the reason I want to see it continue on from here today, and you guys will have to do your thing so that we can rehear it again, is because when we cross this bridge again, and it could happen in the future, we need to know this. We have literally hundreds of dedications like this that, in a lot of cases we'd like to, if we have no use for them, see them back on the tax rolls or put into commerce and all kind of stuff, and this is just a new thing, so I appreciate your, pardon me.
I might add to that in these formal dedications, which are done by a written instrument, you can have dedication where fee ownership of the land actually goes to the public, and you can have something less, which is where something, only a servitude was dedicated for use. And that's an important distinction here, because it would mean, if that were the case here, which there's some language in the original instrument, which in my opinion appears to only grant a servitude, but if you revoked it, it does go, in fact, it just no longer encumbers our client's property, since they have the deed all the way that covers the entirety of the 50 feet.
Right, and what I appreciate everything you're saying. My point is, we're going to have to know these things for fact. You're going to have to know them for fact, because I'm not prepared, to do anything unless I know what all the facts are. It very well may be that you're right, and we should revoke this property, and I have no problem doing that. But I want to know what all the details are. There's some vagueness and a lot of ambiguity for most, and I realize probably because it goes back to 1915, it's got a whole lot to do with it. So. Yes, Mr. Keller.
By way of example is that what usually happens in these cases when you've got a right-of-way is you've got half of it on the other, one person's probably the other half, so that everybody's in favor of the abandonment, because they'll get half and they'll get half. Because but it burdens both pieces of property, if I'm making myself clear.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
And the factor circumstance we have here, which is different, this may be the exception to the rule, is that in this situation, we have a right-of-way that only burdens one, I should say, our client's property. That's our position. That's different. That's different than the usual situation.
Well, that's why we need to be clear on that. You say you're right, and I'm sure you're confident you are, but I'm not necessarily convinced. And you know, there's a lot of gray in this, but that's what you guys do in your profession, is put all this gray. So we'll just have to figure it out. I'm finished with my questions. Thank you.
But Lynn?
Right now, I would stand to hold off and not revoke the dedication. However, the question that I have is for Attorney Grubb. Since the land was dedicated in 1915 by the landowner to the parish for a specific purpose of building a road, and since the parish did not fulfill their obligation to build that road, shouldn't that land go back to the heirs of the people that owned the land in 1915?
Well, of course, the question is there a possibility that the parish would ever build a road there? I mean, if the property is, is it possible that the property to the south of the right-of-way could be developed in such a way that a public road would be indicated? If that's the case, and I'm not saying it is, I don't know, but if it was possible that property could be developed where a road would enhance the value of the property, then it would be ill-advised to revoke the dedication, because you'd be diminishing the value of that property. But it's been dedicated since 1915. There's been no development that would cause that to happen. So the point is, like with hundreds and hundreds of miles of other unimproved public dedications around the parish, it's just dedicated to the parish. The parish owns it to the extent of whatever the language in the dedication is. And I guess you might say, in most cases, there will never be a public road built, but if future development was to justify the public road, then you've got the right way to do it.
I have witnessed where the city of Shreveport was donated a piece of land by a local family that still is here that was for a city park, and it was donated to the city for a city park. The city of Shreveport then in turn was going to sell that to Shoney's to build a restaurant. Now, the land was donated in the 1800s for a city park. They got ready to build ground, and the attorneys for the family were kind enough to the city of Shreveport to say, if you build that Shoney's, we will own it, because that land was for a park, and that land is for nothing else other than a park. I view this the same way, that if this land was donated to the parish for the building of a road, and we didn't build a road there, then that land goes back to whoever donated it in 1915. Will you research that and tell me the legal action or where we should go with that, which actually, I don't know if that helps any of the people before us today, but if we're trying to figure out what's fair and what's not fair, then that to me would be fair. That's all, Mr. President.
Mr. Dominique? We probably ask Mr. Henner, he's an expert on the land law that you're talking about, but there's some law on donations that reverts back. It's different from the dedication of the road. Jimmy, you may know my answer to my question. The dedication of this road, was it formally accepted by the parish? Is it just one of those simply dedicated to the public?
It's just a blind document, but the only signatures of the grantor.
And are we in the MPC zone, or is this outside the MPC
This
zone?
is inside the MPC.
Normally, MPC would or would not have anything to do with this particular issue. They do not.
No, it's already gone before the MPC. Any road abandonment that is...
And what did the MPC say? Did they say...
The MPC voted 9-0 to approve it.
To approve the abandonment. And this road is how many feet that we're talking about? Was it 50 or 100 feet?
50 feet wide
50
total.
feet. Normally 25 goes to one side, 25 goes to the other side. We have some issues about that and how that would go. I guess Mr. Heller was saying that that y'all would own, that you should own the whole 50 feet, but if we do abandon it, then they're going to get 25. Is that kind of what it boils down to, Mr. Heller?
I think that's an accurate summary.
Because of the statute that says you get half and half?
Right, if you read that statute strictly, that's the way I read it, and
Yes.
that you split it down the middle. That's what it says.
Because it goes to the adjacent landowner, and this is an untypical road because it's not going right down the middle of the line. It's actually dedicated on y'all's property.
Yeah, it says, you're right, the statute says contiguous landowners.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Seems like y'all need to try to work something out. I would agree to postpone this too, and move forward to postpone for another 30 days.
Keep it going.
Mr. Rick, just as a general question, why the MPC decide to support this revocation when they haven't done it before?
I would defer to Stephen about that.
I mean, has it the general rule been if everybody was not in agreement?
Come off to the mic, sir.
We're there for that.
No, okay.
So that is not a policy of the MPC. The MPC accepts applications on closure and abandonments from the parish or the city of Shreveport, whatever jurisdiction might be. They do not have a rule that says that all of the adjacent property owners have to agree. That in the parish has been a rule that
Okay, so
they do it
it's a-
procedurally.
Okay.
But I will just tell you, just for instance, yesterday, we had a closure and abandonment of an alley that was in front of the MPC that was a city case, and only 60% of the owners had signed the petition. But there was no opposition present at that hearing, and they did approve. In this particular case, there was opposition at the hearing. Some of these issues, not in the detail that you hear them today, of course, were brought up. The rationale of the board was, for one thing, the MPC does not decide property disputes. What the rationale for approving this was, it was clear from the documentation submitted at the hearing that this indeed was a dedication, and that if the ownership was an issue, it could be taken up into the court system where a judge could decide that. But it was clear from the documentation submitted and from the information provided by the parish Public Works Department that this road was not necessary for any purpose regarding transportation. This road was actually originally placed there along the section line, but it is immediately adjacent to Interstate 49. It in effect is dead-ended. It does not connect to any other dedication within the subdivision, nor the subdivision that's new to the north. So therefore, from a planning perspective, it did not appear, the way that the development pattern is in that area now, that this road was necessary. And that is the rationale on which they based their decision.
Okay, and now, Mr. Whittington, is it the parish's practice not to even bring it to the MPC if there is anyone who objects?
That's been our policy in the past.
Okay, and was there any particular reason?
Well, it was
was
that
different?
I want to say the applicant, I don't know if that's the proper word, but Cottage Ridge, Mr. Majalis, I mean, that was what we told him initially. We do not proceed on these, and it was, again, it's policy. I don't know when it started or whatnot. It's been here since I've been here. And we said, well, you got to have a petition from not only you on the north, but these folks as well, and that just couldn't happen. And Mr. Majalis said, well, that's just policy, and policy can be changed, and he took it to another level.
Okay. Well, I would recommend at this time that it be tabled until we can get everything, the facts. And I think that one of the main facts that we need to know is the dedication. Was it the dedication of a servitude, or was it in fact a fee dedication? I think that makes a difference. although I don't know that it's going to make a difference in ownership. But anyhow, I'd like to go ahead and postpone it until such time as we have all these questions answered.
Mr. President, can I make a statement?
Yes, sir, come on. Come up to the mic, please.
My name is Gus Majala. Okay, we've been working on this project for 3 years, trying to figure out what's what. We spent over $2 million out there, and we definitely planned, and we're spending another $1 million right now, enlarging that subdivision and filling it out completely. This 50 feet we found in our survey to be adjoining our property and adjoining the property to the people to the south. Now, it's as a practical businessman, why would anyone, since the city has no use for the property, why would the city want to own the property, or the parish, or anybody else? So if it had no use, we're ready to put it into use, and we're not asking for the 50 feet. Well, we're going to be rational and give them half, and we'll take half. Then we'll put a fence there, and we'll make our subdivision a little nicer, and everybody will be happy. But some of the owners agreed to that before, then all of a sudden they got the lawyers involved, everything got screwed up. Okay? Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I have an OJT, if I've hired enough lawyers. I'm just telling you that there's no reason, no logical reason for this parish or this city or anybody else to sit there and have property doing nothing. I mean, if we get it, we're going to pay taxes on it. Now, if they're going to give it to them, we're just pay taxes on it. To sit there having property with no use is useless, it's sensitive. It doesn't make good business sense. I don't care what the policy is. That's my point.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Ms. Baker?
Call for the question.
Second. Question's been called for by Ms. Baker, seconded by Mr. Dominique. No debate. So the motion on the floor is to postpone. I'm sorry, vote on, calling for the question. It must be 2/3. Okay. The question is called for. Now we'll vote on the motion that's on the floor, and the motion is to postpone by Ms. Lynch. Okay. We vote. Okay. Next order, please.
Ordinance number 5078, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorizing the parish administrator to sell at tax interest.
So moved. Moved by Mr. Pierce. Seconded by Ms. Baker. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote, please. Ms. Escudé, could you clear your name? That passes. Okay, next order, Mr. Clerk.
Ordinance for introduction by title, ordinance number 5079, amending and reenacting Chapter 4 of Code of Ordinances pertaining to permits for the sale of alcoholic beverages and alcoholic beverage handling cards. Ordinance number 5080 to amend Article 6 of Chapter 26 Code of Ordinances relative to Section 14-1006 Schedule F, no parking zones to include a portion of Calderwood Drive. Ordinance number 5081 to authorize the parish administrator to execute an easement and right-of-way agreement with Magnolia Midstream Gas Service LLC for the purpose of constructing and maintaining an oil and gas pipeline in Section 31 and 32, Township 17 North, Range 15 West. Ordinance number 5082 to authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell real property located in Section 31, Township 17 North, Range 15 West. Ordinance number 5083 to authorize the parish administrator to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the town of Vivian concerning recreational services. Ordinance number 5084 to lease property commonly referred to as the Morning Sport Landfill. Ordinance number 5085 to authorize the parish administrator to sell water for competitive bids. Ordinance number 5086 to deem property surplus and authorize the sale of surplus property owned by the parish of Caddo. Next, we need to ratify minutes for April 4th.
Okay. Entertain a motion by Mrs. Lynch to ratify the work session minutes, April 4th, seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Okay, let's vote, please. Minutes are ratified.
Next, we have resolutions. Resolution number 12, to consider and take action with respect to adopting a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the parish of Caddo to authorize an additional homestead exemption for certain disabled veterans and surviving spouses, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Lynch.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? Ms. Escudé? Okay.
When is this going to be on the ballot?
October.
Okay. It's not really a special election, just call it an election.
It is October, I thought it didn't. Mr. Webb said
It said special election, it's not really a special election. We have other things. Okay, that's all.
That's correct.
Thank you.
No further discussion, we vote. That passes. Okay, next.
Resolution number 13, authorizing the reimbursement of Caddo Parish constables and justices of the peace for attending state mandatory training.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Smith. On discussion, we have Commissioner Thibodeau.
At our work session, we included in here that deputy constables would be included as long as it was a mandated training by the state.
Right.
The same amounts apply and everything.
Correct.
We'll be sure we have that put in there. It's not in the resolution.
It's in the body of the resolution.
It's in the new one? Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't, Mr.
Okay.
President, but
I'm fine.
Okay, no more discussion, we vote. That passes.
Resolution number 14, stating that the Caddo Parish Commission's endorsement of the TIRAC Incorporated to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Quality Jobs Program.
Moved by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion?
jobs.
Okay, let's vote, please. That resolution passes. We got you, Mr. Thibodeau. Okay.
We have no old business.
Okay.
Move to new business, we have confirmation for appointment of Mr. Clay Walker as Juvenile Services Director.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, seconded by Commissioner Lynch. On the discussion, Ms. Lynch, you have any more? Okay, Ms. Lynch?
I don't have any discussion. Go ahead and vote for it.
Let me say, first of all, up front, that I am going to support this confirmation today. 2 weeks ago, when this was brought before this body, I guess 2 Thursdays ago, I did not have timely or sufficient notice that this confirmation was going to be coming before us. We had known for, I guess, several years that Edwin Scott would be retiring, and certainly knew for several months what his actual last day was going to be. And certainly, I think, had sufficient time to go through the interview process and give the commission time to get some information on the person that was chosen, because the course that we had been going for a couple of years was that there was an internal candidate that was, when the commission asked what was going to be the succession for this particular department, an internal candidate was being groomed to assume that position, and when there was an abrupt, seemingly abrupt change in that course, and I was notified that Mr. Walker was going to be offered that position, and less than 24 hours later, when I got to the meeting, not having a resume, not having anything other than his name. In fact, the evening that when I received the phone call about it, I had to go on the internet and Google just to get some information on who this person was. As a commissioner, I should not have to go to the internet to find out any information on someone that is going to be assuming such an important department, and certainly one that I've been working with since I became a commissioner. Did receive the resume, but it was just as our meeting was started, and I just did not feel that that was sufficient notice to give my vote for the confirmation at that time. My vote to me means something. It's a representative vote. It's not an administrative vote, because I'm elected by the folks that are in District 7. And my vote should be representative of my constituents and of my community. I do take into consideration the recommendation of the administrator, but my vote represents my district. The only ambivalence, I guess, that I have about this particular confirmation is that, and it's not really, didn't really have to do with this one, but on at least 2 to 3 occasions in the last few years, there have been internal candidates for positions that were replaced with people from the outside. And of course, I don't think anybody can, I guess most people know me as kind of a change agent, and I have no problem with outside candidates coming in, but when we have groomed people internally, folks that have been with us over an extended period of time, and I don't know if it's that they're not being mentored, I don't know if they're not getting leadership opportunities, I don't think this is the case, I don't know if it's bias, I'm not sure what it is, but at least on 3 occasions, internal candidates have been passed over. And so I'm concerned about that, Mr. Wilson. I want to make sure, I guess, that that's certainly not a pattern. And I'm saying that in 2 of those cases, those were African-American females. So I'm concerned that that's not a pattern that's developing, and that if we have internal candidates, that we are giving them all the opportunities to grow in their positions, or if there are positions that we know that are coming available, that they're given every opportunity to be mentored, to be taught, or whatever needs to happen, that they're given those opportunities. Mr. Walker, I've had an opportunity to look at your resume as well as read some things that were out there on the internet, and I am very impressed by what you bring to the table, your credentials, the work that you've done at the national level, the work that you've done at the state level. I think you being a lawyer, although I'm not sure we need any more lawyers, but I think that brings a certain skill set to the department that we don't have. I'm sure that you'll be able to speak more of the language of the judges and improve the communication there, because you all kind of understand and speak the same language. That we've not really been able to quite break through from where we sit. I think your ability to hopefully do research, to understand evidence-based practices, and to participate on the national level with NACO because of your credentials and the work that you've done nationally, as well as with the state, is going to benefit our Juvenile Services Department. So I look forward to working with you and to incorporating your expertise into what we're already doing at the national level. Thank you.
Mr. Cox? I'd like to say that I believe that Mr. Walker is a fine addition to the position. The administration has made a fine choice. Yes, there was probably other candidates, but as in business, as we all know, you try to get the best person for the job. Sometimes that may not be the person that's working in that certain division at that time. Some people have the need to grow a little bit more. So I would say looking at his background, looking at where we need to go with juvenile justice, and as Ms. Lynch has said many, many times before over the years, is that these are our children that we're working with. So we want to get the best possible person in that position. And at this time, I would like to say that I will be voting for you today, and hope you hit the ground running. Thank you.
Mr. Escudé? I too welcome Mr. Walker. I'm going to be voting for him. I think we're going to hit a home run on this one. I think the administration has outdone themselves in finding somebody overly qualified for the job, actually. I commend Mr. Walker for willing to check his career, so to speak, to come do this. We've made great strides in juvenile the last few years. I think this will take us to the next level. I very much always like to promote from within. I have in my personal business life, and you groom employees some days, but sometimes it just didn't work out like that. You can groom somebody so much, and then somebody with a brighter star shows up, and it's not to take anything from anybody, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't get the best qualified person. It's the job of the administration to seek that out, and at the end of the day, he has to answer to us, so he has to live with his own recommendations.
kind of liken it to Jared Lee's quarterback at LSU. He's doing fine and having a little struggle, and he's quarterback, a parent, and promised the thing, and here grooming him, and here comes Jordan Jefferson. And things change. So I welcome you to the parish, and I look for big things. I think we're lucky to have you. Thank you.
Mr. Lee? I want to commend Mr. Wilson on his choice for head of the juvenile detention facility and his choice for Clay Walker. I feel that we found somebody that grew beyond Shreveport, that is a Shreveport native and is very familiar with our juvenile detention facility. And I feel that we've been able to split the difference and put in a good mediator between the juvenile detention facility and the judges, which is what we have been looking for a long time. And at the same time, know what side of the bread he's buttered. And so he's going to take care of the detention facility, I'm confident, and then also be able to work with the judges. And I'm appreciative and for him willing to work local rather than statewide, and I'm confident in Mr. Wilson's choice. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Dominique?
I guess I had a little inside track knowing Clay a little bit as a lawyer and his family, knowing you come from a very fine family, and just you're working throughout the juvenile justice system. And I was taken back when you told me you wanted a job. I was really surprised, but really happy. And I will support you 100%. He's already hit the ground running. I was there yesterday. I saw Mr. Wilson yesterday. Y'all having a meeting. So he's already over there working, and I think you'll do a fabulous job. And if you need anything from me, let me know.
That's it, Mr. Dominique?
That's it.
Okay. At this time, we'll vote on the confirmation of Mr. Clay Walker. That passes unanimously. Before we go to the next order, Mr. Walker, would you please come to the mic and present yourself to the one that may not know you, as well as to the citizens in the parish that may be watching this telecast?
Certainly. My name is Clay Walker. I'm an attorney here from Shreveport, born here. Went to Caddo Magnet here, and I have had a state job for the last 3 years, and the bottom line is, without any disrespect to the people of Baton Rouge, I prefer Shreveport. I didn't want to move. They wanted me to move there for that state position, and I have 2 young kids here in wonderful public schools. I've got all 4 grandparents here. I didn't want to move, and so to some extent it is checking my career a little bit, but it really, for me personally, it's about Shreveport as a community. It's about paying attention to my family a little bit more, maybe to a state career. I can tell you that I will do my best to make you proud. I know that the job I will do will be honest. It will be hard work. I am there early. I will be there late. You will have all my contact information. I will do the best I can for the citizens of this parish. And that's public safety first. It's fiscal responsibility, and it's also trying to get as many of these kids to turn their lives around as we can, working with them. But if there's anything anybody wants to know, you can always reach me, and I'll certainly be working with Mr. Wilson quite closely. I know we have our first meeting Monday, and I'm already getting ready for it. I hope it wasn't presumptuous to be up there, but I have been gathering some information so I can be at the meeting with some information at our first meeting. If there's any questions, I'm happy to.
Clay, I may have missed it. Am I your commissioner?
It's actually Mr. Lynn, I believe.
All right. Okay, we thank you. Appreciate it.
He'd rather be you.
I just tell you congratulations, and I know you'll be there early, and I know you'll work late, but just take a bit of advice from me too. This time to do everything. Don't miss those softball games, or the soccer games, or t-ball games. You can't ever get those back, or those school plays. So, manage your time well. You got a lot of discretion, but make time for your family.
I certainly will, and I appreciate that.
Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Proclamation for appointment of Chief Ernest Mitchell, Fire District Number 3, to the Caddo Parish Ambulance Board to replace Mr. Danny Maloney, who has resigned.
Moved by the chair.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, let's vote, please. All right. Mr. Mitchell is confirmed. Okay, David Cox. Don't nobody go nowhere now. I got a little surprise for you, front and center.
What are you doing now?
Mr. President, after this long day, we got a long wait.
Point of information. Could I get I'd like a couple-minute recess. Mr. Cox, then we'll reconvene.
Take a break.
Let's take a break.
It's, that high point line, that's the Bayo Road.